My fantasy casting for Blake Seven, right? A revival of Blake Seven. Emilia Clarke instead of Jenna, working from Jenna over to the left. Emilia Clarke as Jenna. Mads Mikkelsen as Avon. I think Mads Mikkelsen is perfect as Avon. Jamie Delino, thank you, 8-Bit Snick Boy. Whose initial Hellblazer stuff was very good as well. So Mads Mikkelsen as Avon. Joe Gilgan, who was in Misfits, he's been in This Is England. What's he been doing recently? Hang on, let me look. I haven't seen him in anything for ages. Joseph Gilgan. He was in what's it called again? Emmerdale for a while, right? Joseph Gilgan. Let me see what he's been doing. Brassic. When's that? It's he's been in a show called Brassic playing Vinny. That sounds like quite good. I know. I like the idea of a show called Brassic. But he's really a fabulous actor, right? He was in The Preacher Show. That's the one I was thinking of. Blake, Tom Hardy. Jenna. So I finally I can never work out who. Not Jenna. Callie. Who will be a great Callie? Finally struck me. Nathalie Emmanuel. The only good thing about Megapolis, right? She would be perfect, mainly because of the hair, but she would be absolutely perfect. And then Gan would be what's his name? The guy from Time. Not Sean Bean. Stephen. What's it got again? Time. TV series, season 1. Stephen Graham, right? Stephen Graham. That is my fancy lineup, right? So Nathalie Emmanuel, she's the newest one in for me. What does this say? 7? That's a very weird cover. A very weird illustration. As Blake 7 comes to Blu-ray, we discover how the BBC's very own space rebellion began. I'm more interested in hearing about the. Is this like just a flashback to Blake 7? Really? Well, I'm there. Come back. No, because this is all stuff from the Blu-ray. Fine. So let's read this article. I have a feeling Blake 7 was a whole lot better and more important to those who were working on it realize, certainly when it started. Well, that's true. I mean, but again, that I think is often a sign of like very, very strong entertainment, right? I think you get a lot higher quality when you have a sausage factory and you just got to knock out 20 episodes a year, 22 episodes, 13 episodes, whatever, right? But this was just like, nobody thought they would be speaking about this. How many years later? 81, 91, 2001, 11, 20, like what, 45 years later? Nobody thought we will still be talking about this then, right? They think they kind of had an inkling we'll still be talking about Doctor Who because they had so much longevity back there. But really, nobody thought we would still be talking about Blake 7. It was a cheap bit of tack, but it's a cheap bit of tack that was transcended by fantastic performances. And also I like the premise. The premise is good. It's very dark. Everything about it I kind of like. I like the nasty grittiness of it, right? I think that's pretty much a cornerstone. I like how Villa was kind of evil in the first couple of episodes before he, kind of melted into the comedy relief. It reflects veteran Dave Michael Bryan. I mean, we all knew it was rather good. Oh, good. I'm glad you knew that. It just wasn't any. It wasn't just any 13 parts. We all knew it had quality. It had quality, but terrible production values. Right. That's why I am. Look, I'm very excited for this Blu-ray release where they've redone the special effects, and it so needs it. What was it? The third century of the second calendar, or rather, more mundanely, the first weeks of January 1978. As Star Wars orbits the UK light Odeon conquering Death Star, The BBC is launching its own weekly Counter-Strike. Listen, it came out exactly in the shadow of Star Wars. And boy, did it look bad for it, right? But man, they have just a great cast. Just like George Lucas' cinematic wonder, it's the tale of a scrappy cosmic rebels battling totalitarian overlords, although these are all criminals and they kind of like being criminals as well, which again is a great part of Blake 7. This war, however, is waged on an altogether smaller screen and a very different budget from Hollywood Revival. Yes, it's a Juliet Bravo budget, wasn't it? When we signed our contracts with the BBC, I don't think any of us were particularly aware of Star Wars. Brian tells SFX, when did Star Wars come out in England? A second. Star Wars 1977 UK release date. Was it 77 or 78? It came out on December 27th. I remember seeing in the winter, right? Oh, man, I remember my dad bringing home tickets for that. So exciting, right? What am I doing? It's fine, I'm there. We started with Brian said, but when I was in the office in TV Central, I became screaming aware because everyone was talking about it. My feeling was, yeah, whatever. I don't want to go and sit because it's a feature film and we're making a TV series. Oh, I long for the days where movies and TV shows were different, right? I genuinely long for those days. On the other hand, Pennant Roberts, fellow Blake 7 director, went virtually to the opening night. I discovered him in the office the next day with head and hands and tears streaming down his face. When I eventually saw Star Wars, I could understand why. It did change. It changed everything, right? It absolutely changed it. Just like Alan Moore writing comics, it changed everything. I'm not aware that it actually did us any harm. Just in terms of viewing figures and publicity, it stopped science fiction being a niche market and made it much more mainstream. That's a very good point. You know, I was talking about Star Cops last night? I can't remember, but I am convinced they put Star Cops on at 8:00 on BBC One at the time. It would have done gangbusters. Repeatedly made for the same money you can make an everyday police drama. I can see that there was a certain naivety and optimism, amidst Bryant, in the BBC's home-spun space opera, delivering a downbeat take on the future. Very downbeat. Oh, just so fantastic at the same time. There was none of the moral clarity of Star Wars. Exactly. Oh, I love that, right? No hint of gleaming utopianism of Star Trek. Again, exactly. I love that. Another inevitable... That would be an interesting crossover. Star Wars and Blake 7. Star Trek and Blake 7. That would be like... What would happen if the Starship Enterprise gets caught in the Blake 7 universe? I think it'll be captured and the crew will be sold off as love slaves. Yeah, that's just my take on it. Another note on comparison on TV for TV critics of the day. In tune with a troubled, uneasy decade, this was science fiction with a dystopian streak and a length of a light year. Yes, that's fair enough. Who wrote this? This is a well-written article. Do they have a name? Nick Sheffield. Well, yeah, okay. He's an editor, or he used to be the editor. Sales creator Terry Nathan famously pitched it as the BBC as a Dirty Dozen in space. I think that's a fair pitch, right? Just a bit darker Dirty Dozen, I think. Robin Hood with Star Drive and Nation's fatalistic worldview gave the show its edge. Yeah, okay, definitely a fair comment. Perhaps the unknown fascinates me most of all, and the greatest of the unknowns is the future, he told Radio Times in 1977. A future is going to be dead, mate. Same for all of us. Frankly, I'm a bit pessimistic about one, I'm afraid. It's all going to be good. I mean, we'll get World War III first, but it'll be good. It was certainly seen as an important show when it was put together, says Brian. I don't forget Terry Nation had a very good reputation on BBC. He did Survivors, which I thought was a brilliant show for its time. I never really liked Survivor. That's to tell you. I prefer the Big Finish take on it. But I kind of got bored of that as well over time, which I thought was brilliant. And of course, the Daleks created another key to his fame. I think that's the main key to his fame, really. Bryant directed 4 episodes of Blake 7 Series 1, including the opener, The Way Back, establishing the show's hero in the bleakest of galaxies. I mean, he was framed for kiddie porn, right? That's really not good. Political 1978. Okay. Political dissent. Political dissent. Roger Blake opposes the Terran Federation. I love the bit the rebel guy at the beginning when the Federation guards show up said, "No, just show we're peaceful. Nothing bad will happen." They're all massacred. Repressive regime that uses Orwellian surveillance. I mean, the Terran Federation was born out of a Harris presidency. Political dissident, Roger Blake, Terran Federation, Orwellian, show trials and pacifying drugs to maintain the rule. Yes, 100%. This is the Harris administration. Implanted with false memories, arrested on trumped-up charges of child abuse. Blake is exiled to the interplanetary penal colony. Episode 1 certainly struck a note with the show and was considered to be intellectually satisfying as well as action-based action-packed space drama. And I think it was. We all knew that we had to do serious science fiction and not overact crash bang wallop. And again, that's 100% what's wrong with the current era of Doctor Who, right? Too much money, too much pomp, too much pizzazz, very, very little substance, right? I guess the tone was set from everybody reading the script of episode 1. I'm not missing anything, am I? Which was pretty serious. I thought it was very surprising, powerful, and frightening to make child abuse the reason for Blake being prosecuted. Yeah, I was shocked, but I was going, bloody hell, it did push the envelope. Totally, that totally pushed the envelope. For the part of Blake, producer David Maloney rejected the more obviously heroic choices in favor of Gareth Thomas. I wonder who else was in the frame, right? An impressive actor with the look of a particular pensive rugby prop forward. Well, yes, fair enough. Yeah. Let's look a bit at Blake being Blake. When Big Finish came to do them, he was really over the hill. His voice just did not sound the same at all. So he cast Gareth at the right at the beginning, almost as soon as he sat down to work with the producer. As actor, Gareth raised the level of acting in the show by a huge %. That's fair. It was Royal Shakespeare Company at the time. He found a truthful way of doing everything. He brought a reality to the thing. Yes, I agree with you. As the leading man, he set the standard of the acting that was above average in many television programs. I hardcore agree. Right? There were some absolute excellent actors around, and there were some very good actors around, and Gareth Thomas was excellent. I'm glad he's in the former category. One of the problems I have with the science fiction telly is you go, oh, I just don't believe. No, I don't believe it's not butter. I don't believe this. I don't believe you as an actor. Well, that's the thing. That's why the Jodie Whittaker Doctor Who failed, because she didn't believe it. You know, you've got to be able to believe it, and she didn't. What was it? You'll say, I don't believe it either. You're saying the words and you're not tripping over the furniture and you don't really believe it. Gareth Thomas lifted it 100 miles above that level. He set the tone. I can't wait for these Blu-rays to come out. Oh, I hadn't thought that before. It's a very good point. As Series 1 unfolds, Blake assembles a crew. He does. Same he didn't take Brian Blessed. For his crusade, so drawn from the ranks of the criminals and outcasts, corrupt and acidically technical, acidically cynical tech genius Avon. Brilliant from his first performance, right? From the first moment you saw him, loved it, right? Petty Villaresto, again, pretty much nailed it. Jenna Stanis, Sally Convet, and Killer Oleg Stan with an inhibited trip, and alien guerrilla fighter Callie, Jan Chapel. Yeah, I would like to say Nathalie Emmanuel, the translator chick from Game of Thrones. as Callie, right? A telepath from the world of Auron. We all sat around to discuss how important it was that there would be good chemistry in the show. Well, there was good chemistry, but the characters kind of hated each other. Like, you did always get the feeling that Tarrant, I mean, from season 3 onwards, would be really happy to bump off a Villa, right? Although Avon had no problem bumping off Villa with, what's the episode? Orbit in season 4. I love that episode. We all sat around to discuss how important it was there. Chemistry in the show. David was very keen on casting. Who were keen on casting, mate? People who he thought would create that chemistry. Well, I see that's why Michael Keaton got the nod. Michael Keaton's good with chemistry, right? Brian laughs. And I totally failed. How can you say you totally failed? Oh, come on, Brian. What none of us was thinking about, the casting had worked out was that actually there were too many characters for potential stories. Okay. I mean, it didn't get as bad as Doctor Who when like Nyssa had to go for a nap. You know, things like that. Oh, I'm tired. I'll be in the next story. So they had too many characters with potential stories. Chris Boucher's script editor was trying to give a character some personality, some of their own individuality. Well, I think he succeeded. Like Avon, Villa, Blake, very distinct characters. Gan, Jenna, Kat, all very distinct characters, right? We're trying to give them personality and their own individuality in the second episode. But the time I came back, but by the time I came back to them, Bryant returned to direct episode 5 of The Web. I'd already heard what was going on. There were 5 supporting actors in search of dialogue. Oh, you're being me, but okay. I was the one. I was Voices from the Past, where Gareth Thomas is like laying on his stomach with his arms up, doing some kind of weird exercise. I can't remember. Everyone wanted the storyline to be centering around them, with the exception of Gareth. Virtually the whole cast was unhappy because they weren't getting enough screen time. Well, they seemed to cheer up by season 4. Or Series D, I should say, because they didn't have enough screen time. There were too many actors in search of a scene to play. And, of course, that engendered a degree of jealousy. I don't think anybody was jealous of Gareth because he was the leading man. It was Blake Seven. So Gareth was, well, it was still Blake Seven in Series 3. So Gareth was going to assume the lead in every story, but everybody else wanted secondly. When Paul came in, Paul started getting more and more stuff to play because the character was working so well. Okay, well, who would you have as a number? You wouldn't have Villa. Villa's a supporting artist, and so's Gan, right? And Jenna and Callie, they're kind of like in their own. Because the girls, they're kind of like in their own little category, right? The mob competition for the precious screen time soon arrived in the form of the Federation. Right, you've still got was it not Tarrant? Bloke with a hand. What's he called again? The eye patch. They're 2 totally different actors playing. Brian Croucher, Stephen Greaves. Is it? It's not Tarrant. I can't remember. Supreme Space Commander Servalan, played by Jacqueline Pierce. Now, this is the weird thing about Series 4, which I'm rewatching right now. Servalan struck me as being reasonably famous, right? Supreme Commander Servalan, right? And now, all of a sudden, nobody's seen her before, right? She's bumped off everybody who might recognize her. Played by Jacqueline Pierce, she was an androgynous crop cut and camera stealing charisma. It's so much charisma, right? I love the smoothness of Servalan. Jacqueline would twinkle in the rehearsal room, and we knew exactly what she was doing. She would camp up the sexiness in rehearsals because that was the way that she saw the character, and that was the way she was playing it. Very sexy. And look, here's the difference between Doctor Who and Blake Seven from the time. Doctor Who would have Leela in it, right? And Leela was like, I don't know what's going on there, but I want to do something. I don't know what you want to do, but I want to do a lot of it, right? That there was some vague sexuality going on there. This was much more, hey, kid, do you want to try S&M? I mean, there's a lot of leather going on. And the character and the way she was playing it. Then, of course, you had Stephen Grief walking around in cat black leather as Russo Federation officer Travis. If Blake had his bit I guess it's not about the Blu-rays. Maybe the next page. I mean, are these look like models from the new Blu-rays, right? I think. I don't know. But like I've seen all these props before. Did they rebuild all of them? I think they probably did. Oh man, that looks good, doesn't it? Yes, it does. There we are. If Blake and his bickering ragtag crew were outgunned and outnumbered by the force of Federation, they did at least have one major advantage: the Liberator. And I don't know, I like Scorpio a lot. I think the making into a Liberator substitute could have been handled quite a bit more smoothly, right? Having said that, I do like Slave. A phenomenally advanced starship banded by a mysterious alien race. What are they called again? The System. Is it the System? Yeah. One that came complete with a sentient onboard computer named Zen, voiced by Peter Tuttleham. While Bryant was quick to praise Roger Murray Leach's striking design, he had his own vision for the craft. I mean, yeah, that design is fantastic, right? There had to be a spaceship, he tells SFX. If it had been my spaceship, if it had been my spaceship, and this might have been discussed and cast away, I had it look something more like a space station we saw with boxes and things. We mean like an Eagle, something like that. I think it's what like Star Cops, where they had those space stations there. Why does everything have to be sleek when it's going through a vacuum? Because it looks cool, mate, right? Sci-fi missed out. We're still designing stuff as if it goes through the air. That's because, human beings like the feeling of aerodynamism, I would say. Or something. If you're traveling through a vacuum, it might still be a square box or a ball. That would have been my suggestion. David would have gone, "Oh, Michael, you're so boring." Yes, exactly. Of course, the Liberator design is much better visually. Of course it is. Brian also had his so this is an interview with Peter Brian, okay? We'll get to the DVD soon, Blu-ray soon. Brian has also had his own ultimately unused ideas of the craft's interior, which weren't anywhere near as good as the exterior. Let's be clear. In the very early days, I had a concept the spaceship was a series of acting areas and a series of voids. What? That means people would have their own private rooms. If you wanted to have a discussion, if you wanted to go and make an administrative decision, you would go there. My concept was that we wouldn't have any controls or any control room particularly. Yeah, that's a bad idea. You want to have all those things, right? That is about. That's a great shot, Liberator. Oh, model photos, Connor Flanagan. Well, good for you. Good for you. Oh man, they got the drones as a puppet. That is so clever. Oh, I love old school. Anyway, I saw them mentioning Blu-rays. Okay, the Blu-ray. Thank you. Finally, we're at the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray release of Blake 7 Series 1 offers optional new effects for every episode. I can't wait. In the end, the whole thing came about to about 459 shots. Blimey, says Chris Thompson, part of the team that created the new visual effects. The original effects are still quite beloved. Not by me. That's still quite beloved. It was incredible. It was an incredibly talented modeling unit banded together and against all adversity would be trying to do their best. Blending CG with old school practical models. I love it. Yes, that's the way it always should be done. The Blu-ray team was determined to preserve the aesthetic of the series. Good. That's what you're supposed to do. preserve the aesthetic of the series. It was needed. It needed to look in keeping with the time. Yeah, otherwise it'd be just totally jarring. Says Thompson. We had to focus on what the contemporaries were doing and keep it very much Blake 7. Rather than just copying Star Trek or Star Wars, a good example is the Liberator always comes, it comes at you or away from you, but you never hang with it like you will with Star Trek Next Generation. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so it's always moving, I think is what they're trying to say. While the Liberator is a new build, the team tracked down some surviving spacecraft from 1978 series. We had the original London, I think you had the original London because Matt Irving probably still has it. I'm pretty sure he still has it. Refurbished the original Starship from Deliverance, and we were able to sneak a cameo of the original sneak in a cameo of the original Federation pursuit ship. The project also enlisted veteran model makers Mike Irving and Matt Irving and Mike Tucker for extra authenticity. That will give it extra authenticity, right? Yeah, sounds fantastic. They knew how to do the stuff. It's rather homemade quality. It's rather homemade quality. It's an element of Blake 7, I agree with you, that people love. And hopefully we brought it forward. Yeah, as long as it's just not jarring to watch, right? I mean, that's really the bottom line. Anytime the Liberator turns, that's just Mike Tucker with a piece of string off camera. Charm is when you know something's being made with love. It is being made with love, as I imagine it's going to be watched with love as well. Well, let's see what's on the disc. Oh no, we'll finish reading this, and then we'll see what's on the disc. So Terry Nathan had the gift of creating ideas that were different, that was special. Yes, I agree with you. Where are we up to? We would have had a computer area where you just thought and gave instructions by voice. But I was outvoted by David and Pennant, thank God, which was absolutely fine. Halfway through the series, David was generous enough to say, actually, Michael, we've ended up doing exactly what you said. It wasn't quite the same, but he ended up with Zen and the instruction being given to the computer. Zen was a bit more of an old hat sci-fi than my concept. Yes, I agree, but I think it's a better one. Where was it? Bryant was back for Deliverance, the penultimate episode of the series. I can't wait to see them get captured by was it system stuff, and it just looked really bad in the original with these giant bars being moved into place so it couldn't get out. Liberator, I should say. Was the show's future certain at this point? Put it this way. Their financial issues, the show had overspent a certain amount on visual effects of the visual effects, and a certain amount of that was mine, and a certain amount was everybody else's. I think the decision on it being renewed was not necessarily taken on how successful it had been, although it would be immensely important. Also on the budget, what it can be realistically made for. That's a very good point. The people running the money at BBC were accountants. They're running the money. What would you expect them to be? I know towards the end of it, David was having a horrible time over money. Blake 7 did return, fighting the Federation for another 3 series, almost 47 years later. It remains a treasured example of British sci-fi, 100%. And one that has never conquered the big screen like its Skywalker rival, but whose echoes can be detected in everything from Babylon 5 to Star Trek Prodigy. Well, I think I've seen a couple of episodes. That wasn't bad, but Babylon 5, you get that grittiness involved in it, coming out from it. It was original, wasn't it? Brian concludes. Terry Nathan had the gift of creating ideas that were different, that were special, and were a little bit off the wall. If you had something, and if you have something which is original, that is real and truthful, I guess that gives it enduring quality. I think you're right there, right? I think you're right. November 11th. Let's see what's on the disc, baby. We got... We'll start with this. So, way back in Spacefall on disc 1 with optional new effects, commentary on Spacefall. Who's doing the commentary? Existing special features, June Hudson's costume design, character introductions. Oh, yeah, these are all just like kind of... Gareth was on tape, Michael Keaton on Villa, Sally Kimbett on Jenna, and David Jackson on Gann. These were very quick throwaway things, as I recall. So, new special effect. Liberation, Season 1 documentary. Is that the one by Kevin Davis, you think? I think it's on there. Or is this a new one? It was made for the DVD release, but it was never included on it, right? So, Series 1 documentary, Swap Shop, BBC One, Matt Irving and Blake. I love Matt Irving, went on all those shows, right? Series 1, old model footage rushes, lots of PDFs. Radio Times, Series 1 drama, early warning synopsis, title boards. I never look at the PDFs, frankly. Rehearsal strips, but okay, fine. So I wonder if that is the Kevin Davis documentary, Liberation. Maybe. I don't know. I've got it. It was hidden on YouTube, but I'm glad to see it finished. So disc 2 is Cygnus Alpha Time Squad with optional new effects. Then more kind of throwy stuff. In Conversation, Sally Kimbett. Oh, that'll be with Matthew Sweet. I bet that's going to be good. Deliverance 98. Sally Kimbett, David Jackson, Garrett on, Peter Tuttleham. I guess I kind of like those con appearances. Disc 3. Seat Locate, Web and Seat Locate Destroy. Commentary. They don't say who's doing the commentary. So, A Glint in the Eye, is a new Stephen Grief tribute, Deliverance 98 convention, Gareth Thomas, Peter Tuttleham, Michael Keating, Stephen Grief. Okay, another panel. Photo Gallery, the Web Seat Locate Destroy. And Mission to Destiny Duel, CGFX, thing from Blue Peter. More from Deliverance 98, and even more from Deliverance 98. A lot going on there. So Blake 7th theme A-side. Federation March B-side. I can't even imagine what that's going to be like. That's kind of wild. Project Avalon Breakdown. Man, Big Finish tried to do something with Avalon as a character. It could have really worked well, but it was just bland, right? The character had nothing really. Their character was somewhat of a blank slate, right? And they just kept it a blank slate. Very weirdly, right? Very strange. Model footage. In Conversation, Michael E. Bryant. Collection Blu-ray trailer and Project Avalon breakdown from Photo Gallery. Bounty Aurak Deliverance, so you get new effects. Main on Take 7. Okay, so this is a totally different documentary. New special features, Making of Blake 7, Part 1, Unseen DVD documentary. Yeah, oh man. Fine, so you get both. That's really good news. Aurak in the studio. So let's read how this Blu-ray came to be, right? I don't think you can just release something in new packaging and expect people to dig into their pockets again. Well, not nowadays, but a few years ago, yeah. Executive producer on Blake 7, the collection series 1, the new bells and whistles Blu-ray release of the show's first season. I've done the Doctor Who collection for 6 years, so it really was an extension. It really was an extension of that. The Blake 7 fan base might be slightly smaller, but I don't think so anymore. But might be slightly, but it also feels that they're sort of loyal fans who watch the program in the best possible quality with some new material. That's me, right? I'm quite sure this is the best that Blake 7 ever looks, says Paul Van Zives. The overall episodes, fixing damage, balancing colors, upscaling. I love all the stuff that you don't notice, right? Because that's the thing that knocks it out of the park. And making 2K scans of the surviving film inserts. Going back to the original negatives. That's very cool. I'm applying what we learned on Doctor Who, but the tools are now much more advanced than we started with. I would imagine that. We can make old television look like it did. We can make old television look like it did in 1978 on the television. Back then, you couldn't see the noise and the artifacts because the screen was only 20 inches across. Now it's like 40 or 50 inches or more. Diagonally, you'll get the 1978 experience on a modern television, which you wouldn't get if you were watching on DVD. I can attest to that, right? It's very fuzzy on DVD. Although, Google Star Trek Deep Space Nine fan upscaling. There's a few different versions of it. They're all so much. They have Deep Space Nine on Netflix. It's just too fuzzy to watch. While you watch the fan upscaling, it's pretty much perfect, right? They worked over it with the Liberal Party conference. What's going on? Tells FSA they will also include a rare material, including original studio recording footage from the season finale. They wiped over it with the Liberal Party conference, so we didn't use all the tape. So at the end of the tape, there's a bit of Aurak in the studio, but it's not very much. But everything that was on the tape is going to be on a Blu-ray extra. I have we get the Blue Peter how to make the bracelets. Could go back and look. Eventually, we'll see all 4 Blake 7. And will we eventually see all 4 Blake 7 immortalized on Blu-ray? As long as the cells are buoyant enough and the idea to do them all, it says Minton, well, I hope cells are going to be buoyant enough, right? I did see them mention Blue Peter. 1 second. Swap shot? No. Okay, no Blue Peter there. Blue Peter here? No. There's probably going to be on if it's not on this one, I'll probably be on series 2. Oh no, here it is. There you go. Make a teleport bracelet. These are great. Oh, fantastic! Right, fantastic. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.